Hello everyone, DarkOfAllTrades here. Today I'm going to take a look at a short by a channel called Beyond Him. A little play on words here, which I generally appreciate. This one is called How to Debunk Atheism. I'm not entirely sure what he means by this, but the only way I can think of for how to do this is to show that a god exists. That would be all anyone would need to do, and atheism goes out the window forever. So I'm going to guess that is what he's going to try to do here. Since this is a short, I'll keep this short and dive right in.
Did you know it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to be a Christian?
It sure doesn't. It takes no faith at all to not accept the claim that some number of gods exist. However, maybe he's specifically talking about hard atheism, that is, accepting the claim that no gods exist. For the sake of this video, I'll respond from that position. It still doesn't. With none of the remotely commonly accepted definitions of faith is his statement true. What exactly does he mean by faith here? When talking about religion or religious ideas, faith is most commonly defined as a firm belief in something for which there is no proof. I accept he's going to use this based on what he says later in this video. Right now, I'd like to take a moment to bring up a point that these religious people tend to miss when they put forth this kind of argument. Why do you think this is a good argument from your point of view? Is faith a bad thing? Aren't you supposed to have faith? If this is the case, then why are you mentioning this as if having faith is a bad thing? So what this question implies is that faith is bad, and that is why having more faith is worse than having less faith. It really is telling on yourself that you even put forth this as an argument. Well, Mr. Beyond Him, I have exactly 0 positions that I accept without proof. If you could show me a single position that I accept without proof, then I would change that. Even accepting the idea that no gods exist, that says absolutely nothing about what I do believe. Atheism is a single position on a single proposition. Atheists believe in all sorts of things, but I will get into that a bit more later.
Hear me out. So atheists believe in science and evolution, right?
No. Some of us do, I do, but they aren't mutually exclusive. I know atheists that don't believe in evolution. I don't know what it means to believe in science in this case, but I know atheists that believe in ghosts. I know atheists that don't accept some scientific findings. I know atheists that think that some rocks have magic powers. I actually used to think that at one time. I know flat earthers who don't believe in a god. As I stated before, being an atheist has nothing to do with anything other than the God claim. Atheists tend to be more likely to accept science and also accept the fact that evolution has happened and continues to happen, no faith required. Being monumentally generous here, I'll grant this position for the sake of strengthening your argument. Go on.
Well, science tells us that matter can't be created nor destroyed.
No, science doesn't tell us anything. We make observations using science as a tool. But I think I know what you meant. You are referring to the law of conservation of mass. Is this something you accept? Are you one of those people who believes in science? You don't get to use science as an argument for your side when it suits you and dismiss it when it goes against your position. So what does the law of conservation of mass tell us? The law of conservation of mass, or principle of mass conservation, states that for any system closed to all transfers of matter and energy, the system must remain constant over time, as the system's mass cannot change, so quantity can neither be added nor be removed. One major issue is that for very energetic systems, the conservation of mass only is shown not to hold, as in the case in nuclear reactions and particle-antiparticle annihilation in particle physics. If we put that aside and also ignore quantum physics, your point here seems like a great point, until we consider what this all means. The main point we need to determine is the universe a closed system or an open system? With something like the multiverse hypothesis, the universe is an open system. However, generally the universe is considered a closed system. If the universe is a closed system, that means that the amount of matter and energy contained within it remains the same. No matter or energy can be added or subtracted. This means your God can't add or subtract matter or energy from the universe. This means your God can't move anything either, lest he gives that thing energy. So your God doesn't exist. Or your God could interact with the universe, meaning that the universe is an open system, and therefore the law of conservation of mass does not apply to the universe. Either your God doesn't exist, or your point doesn't apply to the universe. Take your pick.
So that means they believe in also the scientific impossibility that something came from nothing.
No, and this is another point that looks decent until thought about for a second or two. It is actually your side that believes that something came from nothing. Your side literally believes that your God made the universe from nothing. But this isn't about you, right? This is about atheists. So let's look at this claim. Why do you think this is the case? Atheists don't need to hold a position about this. We can just say that we don't know where the universe came from. No one says the Big Bang came from nothing. Nothing in an absolute sense, as physicists talk about something slightly different than this when they refer to nothing, cannot exist. So this isn't even close to what anyone believes. This makes this a textbook straw man argument. You are putting forth something that is easier to attack rather than anyone's actual position. Demonstrate that something cannot come from nothing. I don't think you can. In fact, there are all sorts of articles and journals that show that this is not the case. This is a talking point that tells me you haven't bothered to look at your own claims.
And with evolution, that also means they believe that everything in the universe, from the stars to your eyeballs, was created by random out of tiny little molecules. Nonsense.
Why? Why is it that the fact that the stars form from extant material and also that eyes evolved without a god, nonsense? But a being that uses magic to make things out of nothing is not. We know how eyes formed and why. Take a biology class. Take an astronomy class to learn about how stars form. Your personal incredulity is not a good argument for your God. Simply stating, I don't think it could happen if a God doesn't exist, therefore atheism can't be true, is also not a good argument. So let me summarize this little video that is supposed to debunk atheism. What is he actually saying here and how good are his points? Remember, the title of this is How to Debunk Atheism. His first point is, it takes more faith to be an atheist than a Christian. Well, no, it doesn't. No faith is required to be an atheist at all. However, I can grant this point, and it still doesn't say anything about whether atheism or Christianity is true or not. His second point, atheists believe in science and evolution. I can grant this 100%. An atheist believing in science and evolution has no bearing on the existence of a God or not. Point 3, something cannot come from nothing, but atheists believe that something can come from absolutely nothing. They don't, but granting the first part, the lack of God doesn't say anything about what does exist. Perhaps existence is the default state. We have no reason to think that absolutely nothing ever was the state of things. So no God would be required if there always was something. His fourth point, atheists think that stars and the eye happen randomly. Granting this, things happen. Given enough time, everything possible, no matter how unlikely, will happen. No God needed. Putting the entire argument into a formal format, it looks something like this. 1. Atheists believe in science. 2. Science says something cannot come from nothing. 3. Atheists say the universe came from nothing. 4. Therefore, atheists hold a contradictory belief. 5. Therefore, atheists are wrong about one aspect of science. 6. Therefore, atheism is not true. Even if I were to grant every single premise, it does not mean that the conclusion is true. A person or group of people can be wrong on literally everything else, and that tells you nothing about the one belief in question. This whole thing boils down to the idea of how the universe got here. Beyond Him thinks that a God is required for the universe to exist, and because atheists don't think this, he must conclude that they are wrong. He presupposes a God, and then uses that presupposition to try to disprove anything that doesn't agree with that position. In a syllogism, it looks like this. 1. If atheism is true, then God didn't create the universe. 2. God created the universe. 3. Therefore, atheism is not true. He needs to demonstrate that a God created the universe and not just say, it is nonsense to think a God didn't create the universe. So what did you think? Do you think there are some good points that I missed here? Do you think he put forth easy talking points that take seconds to claim but hours of study to show exactly why they're wrong, thus being intellectually lazy? Let me know in the comments. As always, hit that like button to show that you don't need faith to know it is there. And hit subscribe to make my channel something out of nothing. And as always, keep learning.